Hey, Shane,
Yeah.
have you seen Scream 4?
No.
Okay. But have you seen Scream?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, with like Jack Quaid and
Oh, I thought you meant the other Scream.
No, I meant I meant Scream, not Scream.
Oh, I haven't seen Scream, but I have seen Scream.
Okay. Well, you have now.
Yep, I've seen Scream, and I've seen Scream 4.
He's seen all the Screams
I've
currently
seen
out.
all the Screams that have been scrimpt.
Yep. How do you feel about it? Do you feel weird?
I
Do you feel like you have a gap filled in your like horror knowledge?
Huge gap filled. It's funny because I haven't seen like 98% of the things that all of the Scream movies are commenting on. So it feels like kind of a backwards way to like really jump into this era of horror. But that being said, these movies kind of fucking rule. So I'm okay with it.
Maybe now you should dive in just to tell me what it's like.
Now I can go and watch Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween and others.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
My Bloody Valentine, Slumber Party Massacre. We can name all of these.
You can. I cannot.
I could not. No, they're like motor mouth thing referencing movies and these, and I'm like, hold on, I need to get a pen and paper.
Let me just jot that down.
Jot this down. In reality, when I saw the first one, I hadn't really seen a ton of these other, like the ones they're referencing either. But since then, I've seen the original Halloween, the Rob Zombie Halloween, the newest trilogy. I've seen I've seen every Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I've seen the first Friday the 13th and Freddy vs. Jason and the remake. I've seen a bunch of them. I've watched quite a few. I just watched the remake of My Bloody Valentine last night.
Bars.
Because I did.
Have you seen the original?
No.
But you've seen the remake.
I've seen the remake. The remake was not very good. It's fine. But yeah, no. In terms of these movies, I think Scream is stone cold classic. Great movie. Very few complaints, if any. For me, none really. I just think top to bottom, I love that movie.
I love it.
But it's a commentary movie, so when you make too many of them in a row, the commentary falls by the wayside and you just become the thing.
Yeah.
And that was Scream 2 and 3. You watched the progression of that. But then they took a decade off.
Yeah.
And came back with Scream 4.
Yeah.
How does that compare to 2 and 3 for you? Specifically that one for now.
I liked 4 a lot. I liked it honestly more than I was expecting to. And I definitely like it more than 3. How it lines up to 2, I think we'll discuss. I'm sure we'll have a power ranking.
This is an interesting... I didn't expect that.
Before the end of the episode. I liked 2 quite a bit. I really enjoyed it. There was some stuff that I didn't like in it, but I liked 2 quite a bit. And I really liked 4 too. 4 as well.
42.
42.
Yeah.
Scream 42.
It's a great movie with
Scream 1942.
Yeah. I'd watch it.
I really liked it. I'm glad that they took a decade off. That was necessary. And then they were able to then further comment on taking time off.
Well, because horror changed.
Yeah.
They joke about the years like only thing getting made are these remakes of originals, and it's like that was entirely true. Horror had a weird, awkward phase there for
like late aughts.
Yeah, yes, because there's good stuff in there. Obviously, I mean, you have The Ring kind of in the early. But then it evolved into this weird, they all look the same, like almost like they were all shot by the same person, which they couldn't have been. They made so many, but who knows?
Yeah.
And they were all remakes of classics.
This is the era in which I grew up when it comes to horror. So it's like, I feel like this is part of the reason why I had a bad taste in my mouth for horror for so long, was the fact that like, I don't think the like aughts were the peak of horror.
Yeah, but
I don't think anybody would say that.
No one would say that, but be careful. There are defenders of that era big time.
I'm not saying it's the worst. All I'm saying is like it wasn't the most exciting time. For horror.
I think horror as a genre, we've talked about this before. I think it might be the most interesting thing in cinema right now in a lot of ways. Like they just consistently every year put out a couple of horror movies and I'm like, damn, that's really good. Like and this, 2022 being specifically a banner year for it with like not only a bunch of just great entries in it, but also like really subversive ones or really like transcendent ones. Like it's great. Horror is only thriving now. And I think it was that weird growing pains there for a bit that was necessary. But I think Scream 4's commentary on it is like pitch perfect.
Yeah.
Like, and it's weirdly prophetic in a few things where like there's the vlogger dude and he's like, everyone's going to be doing it. And it's like, everyone is doing it.
Whoa.
But I like that. I like the immortalizing your art idea that they have where he's like, well, they're going to film it and put it online. And it's like, well, then everyone will see it.
Yeah.
It's like, that seems weirdly prevalent for today.
Yeah.
The way Scream 4 ups the violence is way of the air and ups not only the blood, but like the guts.
Yes. There are quite a few intestines.
Yes.
In this one.
And I don't know, dude. I like the cast of Scream 4 a lot. I think it brings a lot of the comedy back that was missing in specifically 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it goes back to its roots in so many ways while also being like they kind of joke because it's not exactly a remake. You know what I mean? Like that was the era of the remake or the like hybrid where it's like, yes, it's a remake, but really it's a sequel, right?
Yeah.
And it's not either of those things. It's just the next chapter in it.
Yeah, it definitely feels more like a sequel than a remake. Mm-hmm. And I think we'll talk about this more with Scream 5, where that one feels like it's doing more to try to be a remake, but is commenting less on that mentality. It's interesting. It's interesting,
but to me, 4 is pitch perfect. In terms of commentary, maybe the best since the first.
Yeah.
Like I also think it has I go back and forth because I think the opening scene of Scream 4 is absolutely brilliant with the repetition. Spoilers.
Great.
Spoilers.
Spoilers for all of these movies. What are you doing? If you're listening to this and you haven't watched
we say it every time.
What are you doing?
But the repetition of like stab 7 and 8, like the end of stab 7, it is so fucking smart.
It's good.
It's so good. And like I go back and forth between that being the best one or the classic nature of the Drew Barrymore one being the best. Like Scream 2's is pretty good. Scream 3's is fine.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Scream 5's when we get there, but
I legitimately can't remember what happened. Oh, so Scream 2 is them in the movie.
Yeah.
Scream 3 is what's his face?
Yeah.
What's his
Cotton
name?
Weary.
Cotton, yeah. And then Scream 4 is the movie within a movie within a movie.
Yeah, which is so good. But I also am curious, I'll throw this at you just real quick before we really talk about specifics of Scream 4. I kind of view Scream 4 as one of the first Lega sequels.
I would need to look at the history of Lega sequels.
But do you think it falls within the spectrum of a Lega sequel? Because the 5th one is like just a Lega sequel.
Yeah.
But this one, to me, like even though the core cast is still Sydney, Gale, and Dewey, this is the first one of the like Scream sequels that also puts in another cast with prevalent scenes of their own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not just intertwined, they have their own separate stuff.
Yeah.
The killer is seemingly going after them, not not the original characters.
Right.
As much for some of the runtime.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to look at like the fact that 10 years for like between the last installment and this installment. I don't know if that's enough to really be a Lega sequel in the way that I think Scream 2022 is more so.
My reason for feeling this, and it's something I've thought about quite a bit, my reason for it is how much it's like the plot of the movie is about being the next. You know what I mean? Like who the killer ends up being is like, I'm the next you. You know what I mean? It's like it literizes some of those ideas, like Top Gun Maverick. You know what I mean? Being kind of the biggest Lega sequel ever, maybe.
Yeah,
is
probably. Dollar for dollar, pound for pound, probably. Yeah.
Where that's so much about like, well, the movie. The funny thing about Top Gun Maverick that no one wants to talk about which I don't complain because I love this movie, is that the whole movie's about Maverick training the next generation, but then he's like, nah, I got this.
No, I'm still the best.
I'm still the best. Right? Like, that's silly, but the movie legacy sequels so often are about like passing the torch and doing this or doing that. You know what I mean? And this movie is like commenting on that idea before the legacy sequel became like a real thing.
Right.
And I think that is absolutely fascinating to behold.
No, I completely agree. And I feel like that is what the Scream 2022 is doing the exact same thing, but it's actually doing it.
Yeah.
But 4 is commenting on it, which I think is interesting.
Yeah. But Scream 4, like specifics, we talked about the opening scene a little bit being brilliant, where it's stab and
Classic.
and then the real thing. So fucking good.
This one's still Wes Craven, right?
Yes, this is the last one Wes Craven directed. Yeah. He made like one other thing, I think, after, and then he passed away. But pour one out. But so there's that. How do you feel about the new characters? Like,
in 4?
In 4.
I don't know. I don't really have a strong take. Like, I'm not like in love with any of them or hate any of them.
Not even Kirby?
No.
Oh, you and I are going to disagree on that.
I like Kirby.
Kirby is the best new character Scream has ever had, including 2022.
Are we including villains? Are we including bad guys?
Best new character?
Yeah.
Since the original?
Yeah.
Who are you thinking?
I love Jack Quaid.
Well, we're not there yet. But yeah, no, I know what you mean.
But again, spoilers.
But my point with Kirby is she's so fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
Like, she was the Randy of that era where everyone was like, you killed the fucking best character.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, they didn't.
Right.
Which is something that makes me very happy.
Yeah.
I love her. Like, I love when she's like, they got a call, I didn't. Wait, does that mean I'm not going to live as long as these guys? Like,
right.
she is like tapped into the like that side of it so well.
Yeah.
And she has, I think, the best piece of commentary in all of maybe the whole franchise, maybe, when he's like, name the horror remake in which, and then she just started listing all of them because any one of them would fulfill any question you ask, period.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is the most like perfect encapsulation of what the commentary of these movies are.
Right.
And I think her performance is great, and I think she's just bought in, which we talk about quite a bit of, like, you need to buy into this movie, this franchise.
Right.
And she does as much as anybody.
Yeah.
I love Kirby. Kirby's the best.
I like Kirby. I just like I said, there's just nobody that I like super loved or hated even.
Interesting. I'll be honest with you, because I think you probably like 5 more than 4, right?
I don't know.
Because I'll be honest, 5, we'll talk about this. I have mixed feelings on 5.
I don't know why I like 5 as much as I do.
No,
I just really enjoyed watching it.
I get, dude, like, a lot of people.
Is 4 better? Yeah, probably. But I just really liked the experience of 5.
I get
like
it.
A lot. I don't know. I don't know what it was.
And we'll talk about it, but like 4, my only big complaint on 4 is really that they sideline Dewey a little too much. He'll kind of be the guy that like stuff will be happening and then he'll show up, and then stuff will be happening and then he'll show up. Like, that's kind of the extent of his role.
I legitimately sitting here now, because again, like, we've watched all these so close together that I'm mixing them up in my head a little bit. I legitimately can't remember Dewey at all in 4.
I mean, he's got some stuff, but he is definitely the like most sidelined of all the characters in a way that I genuinely think is a big bummer.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, because like even Gail is given more to do.
Yeah, well, Gail's given way more to do. She's way more proactive than me. Now, 4 also has some of the best lines. Like, I also think for the era and for what it's saying and what it's saying about the future, the idea of like, I don't need friends, I need fans.
Yeah,
is like brilliant. It's such a good line.
Yeah,
I think the final send off where she like buzzes her head and she's like, well, I feel better. It's like, it's so good, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. 4, like, I don't know what the fan consensus on if 4 or 5 is better. I really don't, but
I don't know either.
I think for me, 4 is just the one that most closely captured what the original did in a way that I think is brilliant. Like, and the fact that it also stands on its own, and it's also good, and it also has good, like, in my opinion, probably the best 2 ghost faces since the original. Now 5 has some pretty great ghost faces.
Yeah.
In terms of after the reveal, like, they're great. I have some issues with some of the choices made in 6 while they're in the costume a little
6
bit.
or 5?
5. Sorry, 6 isn't out yet.
Yeah,
that's why we're doing this, so he can go see 6 with me in the theater. Which I'm so excited about. I didn't want to go to that one alone. I was like, and I don't know anybody else, so I'm making.
Would Ethan not go?
I don't think Ethan's seen him.
Oh, we should have had him on.
We should have.
That would have been great. We should have had Ethan.
We just had
Sorry, Ethan.
We would have to get him over. I'm pretty sure he's seen the original, but I don't think he's seen any of the others. Anyway, 4. I just think 4 rips, dude. Like,
I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, so don't get me wrong. Like, I don't dislike it at all. I really, really, really like it. I do think it's like better written than 5 for sure.
Yeah.
I can't deny that at all. And I do think, I don't know why I enjoy 5 as much as I do. I really don't. And so it's like, I agree with everything that you're saying. And I really, really, really enjoyed 4 as well.
Yeah. Like again, I've said it a bunch. 4 is the one that most smartly comments, and it's the best mystery one until 5, I think. Which 5 has a good mystery, not as good as 4 in my opinion.
Yeah,
like 4 I keep mixing up numbers. 4 genuinely has a really good mystery to me because of the way it, like 2, we talked about this, like they choose to just move Timothy Olyphant out of the story for like half of it, so you just forget about him instead of trying to hide who it is. This one hides who it is in a really fun way, where it's the first time a ghost face called the other ghost face.
Interesting.
Which I think is like brilliant, because it like fully hides her from being even a possibility, and she's like the target now, and so it becomes this thing where you're like,
I never thought about that.
And then when the reveal happens, you're like, wait, what? Ghostface just killed her mom. It's Sydney's cousin. And I don't know, dude. I just love that. I think that was so smart. The mystery
Didn't even think
works.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, like, again, it just, like I said, it just captures Scream to me in a way that 2 and 3 don't, and at least not to the same extent. I've come around on 2 quite a bit. I actually like 2.
I really like 2.
2's a ton of fun. But
I think it is, for me, it is like right up there with 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Like they're all kind of mix and match in terms of things that I liked and disliked.
Not quite for me. Like I said, there's a pretty, not huge, but there's a pretty big disparity between 4 and 2 for me.
Yeah.
Like I think 5, or the Scream, the original, is like a perfect movie, and then I think 4 is like such a solid, good entry, and then I think 2's good. I think 2's a really fun, cool movie that I'm excited to like revisit now that I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Now that I'm not gonna dread watching it.
Yeah.
And then 3 is what it is.
If I go without watching 3 again, I'll be fine.
Yeah. Any other big things? Any other things that stand out with 4? I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it more in conjunction, because I think the big thing to talk about here is like the distance in between each Scream movie and why that's important.
I do wish, because they make a big deal out of like filming the crimes or filming the murders a couple of times. Like, I don't know if the idea is that like they would commit all the crimes and then upload the footage, or
I think it is because they make a comment where she's like, cool, we'll edit and post that later.
But I guess I thought that was just, I couldn't tell if that's like maybe my one complaint, is that like I thought it would have been like live streamed or something. Like I just wish that was going somewhere a little bit more than it did, I think. But like I don't even have that strong of a take on it.
Yeah.
And again, like I've only seen it the once, and so like maybe I just missed one line where it like, but yeah, like that's like maybe the one thing is just like I thought the things would have been uploaded as the crimes were happening, instead of just like all post-mortem. Especially if in their minds they were going to kill the murderer, in so in the way that they have it set up, they kill whoever it was supposed to be, which was like her boyfriend or whatever. I can't remember who they were setting up. So they would have his footage that they would upload, or what, that's like my only thing. You know what I mean? Like
I don't quite.
So
because to me, they're setting up the boyfriend or the boyfriend ex-boyfriend as the killer,
right?
And
they would also filming it.
Yeah, and they would get away with it. But the idea to me is that they edit it and just show the literal kill scenes.
Right, but if he's dead, how is he uploading it?
You just upload you could be like, oh, I uploaded this after. I don't exactly know.
But he died, so how could he like edit the footage and upload it?
There's
You know what
always
I mean?
two. I mean, I don't know.
So that's like my only. That was like my only thing is like it felt like it was going to be a more important, especially with like the guy who's recording all the time. Like I thought that aspect of it was going to be a bigger deal than it ever ended up being.
I don't feel that, but I guess I know what you mean. Like,
Yeah.
for me, that's not. To me, that works. Like, it's again, it's the fact that they get foiled is what stops that from being a bigger thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know, dude. I like the killers in this one. I think they're great. Like,
Yeah.
Specifically her. Like after she kills her cohort, her partner, she like slams her into the wall and falls on the table. And like when she lays down next to Sydney, she mimics how Sydney's not. It's like.
She's like learning from her.
It's like brilliant, dude.
Yeah,
it's
I like that a lot.
so good. I also really like how it looks. Like its emulation of that era is so pitch perfect. It's so good. I am very, very into Scream 4. Now, Scream 5. I told you I would tell you a funny story before we get into it. A funny story about when I went and saw this movie. I'm there opening night. I'm with our friend Sydney. Our friend Sydney, not Sydney Prescott, but our friend Sydney. So
there was Sydney Prescott.
Yeah, I'm sitting there with Nev Campbell. No, but I'm there with our friend Sydney. It's me, Sydney, and Sydney's sister was with us, and we're watching the movie, and it's fine. It's going great. I'm enjoying it how I'm enjoying it, and then there was one dude who was being a dick, and like he's like, yeah, like trying to get into it every time there was a kill scene or whatever, and somebody behind him went, dude, shut up, because it's annoying.
Yeah.
It is like during a scene in the movie. I can't remember exactly. It was late in the movie though, and the guy in the front stands up. He's like, "What, bro? What?" And he looks at, and I was like, we all went. So we're watching this now.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to see a fight in the middle of a Scream movie. I've never seen like an open confrontation like that in a movie theater.
Seriously.
And I was like, there's going to be a fight after this movie. I cannot wait. Hilarious. Over Scream 2022.
How did it end? Like, was it just like,
dude just awkwardly sat down and finished the movie.
Was he quiet for the rest of the movie? There you go.
It was amazing. It was like, what just happened? I loved it. It's the fucking.
He should have
best.
just stabbed the guy.
He should have. We all should have.
Yeah.
We all should have put on our Ghost Smooth. I was wearing this shirt when I went and saw it.
Of course you were. I would expect nothing less.
Why not? It's opening night, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, Scream 5. I will read my review to you now.
Yeah.
To start our discussion, my Letterboxd review is one of my favorites I've ever written. It is so dumb. Here's my review. So 3 stars. Start there. And then my review is, the original Scream was lightning in a bottle. This movie is more like a bottle in a bottle. Like, yeah, that's entertaining. I mean, what's that bottle doing in the bigger bottle? That's neat. But at the end of the day, it's just not as cool as lightning in a bottle. And then under that I wrote, was I thinking about bottles too much during this?
You were.
And then Sydney goes, what was her reply? And I stand by this. And then I had a friend quote. This is the second time someone has quoted my review on Letterboxd. You've done it before. You did it for I Love You, Man.
Yeah.
And my friend Scott did it for Scream. And he was like, a wise man once said, and then just quoted my review.
Yeah.
That is my fundamental problem with this movie, is I think it thinks it's smarter than it is.
Yeah.
In a way that the other ones actually are really smart, at least 1 and 4 are. This one thinks it's smarter than it is.
I agree
and
with
the
that.
commentary does not work for me.
Parts of it work for me, not all of it. The fact that it brings up like elevated horror and all that kind of stuff and isn't doing it at all.
Yeah. Like, what's elevated about...
It brings it up, and then it doesn't really do anything other than that. Like, oh, I like the Babadook more. It's like,
is it trying to compare the two versus comment on it? Like, I don't know. The slasher genre is not nearly as big as it used to be. Like, we still get them, obviously, but not in the same extent. Not like that era of those remakes of all the classic ones, you know what I mean? So it was like you had to find something to comment on, and elevated horror is the thing right now.
Yeah.
But you can't, it's not enough just to mention it.
Yeah.
That bothers me. It genuinely hurts the movie to me.
I agree with that. Like, I think that is, when I say that 4 is better written than 5, I'm specifically talking about shit like this.
I will say this. The commentary angle that does work is this idea of fans going, go back to basics and go back to the original, and you're doing this. But that feels way more like sci-fi and action movie oriented in terms of like discourse. Like, I think elevated horror is just popular. Like, I don't really think there's many people who are like, go back to the early 2000s, dude.
No, I think that, again, like, I think it has more to do with sequels than elevated horror. I think that's lip service more than it is.
Yeah.
Because the rest of them, there's like, they bring it up at the beginning and they bring it up at the end, and everything in between that is just talking about Lego sequels. Mm-hmm. Like, everything in the middle. It's like, I feel like if they had just stuck with Lego sequels as an idea, as opposed to elevated horror, because they don't really do it at all. Like, if they had just stuck to the idea of a Lego sequel about going back to basics and that be the commentary, I feel like that would have been much more effective.
Perfect timing with, and now there's not a ton, but perfect timing with freaking the Halloween trilogy that's been coming out, right? Yeah. Of like the Lego sequel horror movie that rips canon away from all of these other ones and goes back. Right. Which is what the Stab movies in universe did, where it's like Sydney's in all these and then she's not in these and they got bad after that. It's like, well, no, we want to get rid of the canon of those and just make this the sequel to that. And so you had kind of the perfect window to like just make that the whole commentary.
And see, that's the thing. That's there.
But it's so just buried. But that's the problem.
It's just like bookended with the with kind of weird other things that have nothing to do with what they're talking about.
Yeah, like a lot of the heightened elements, right? Of like the Scream 4 does the really brilliant thing of like the party, you know, like the subversion, all rules are like the rules have changed, is the real third act takes place after the party.
Right.
And it's like, that's a brilliant piece of commentary to me, or at least a brilliant piece of subversion. And this movie just makes the end a party, really, until they kick everyone out. But
yeah,
it's I don't know, dude. Like, there are things I love about this movie, but the last thing that I really just don't like, I do not like the Billy Loomis stuff.
Yeah.
Like
I want to like it.
Like, I like the idea of her being Billy's daughter.
I like
but
that.
Him being like, let's cut some people up or whatever. I'm like, this doesn't work.
I feel
for me,
like
dog.
They could have done this like lineage thing of like being afraid that that's within you without actually visualizing it at all.
That's my point, is like, you could have, yes, there's so many ways you could have done
I also don't hate the idea of her being schizophrenic. Like, look, I don't think it's exactly tasteful or like accurate or good in any way, but I like the idea that like there is something wrong, which is not the right way to put it, but there is something wrong with her that she's like afraid of, that like if she's afraid she's going to snap. I really like that idea. Like, but she like essentially kind of like Dexter or whatever, like uses it for good. I like that. I think that's fun. But the Force Ghost.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
No, legitimately, like, there are times where it's just her having a conversation with herself, but it's the last one, right? Where she's like crawling away and she looks up and sees him in the she's not crawling towards anything. She's crawling towards the door trying to get out. But she like looks up in the reflection. He goes, and he like looks down, and she looks down at the knife, and it's like, wait, did it just tell you info you didn't know? Like,
right. Yeah.
That is where this like, okay, like,
I feel like, you know, would have been a better version of that is she sees the knife, and in the reflection of the knife, she sees her dad.
Yeah.
Even that would have been
like,
better
been cooler.
than her like, than him like, making the Yeah, that was dumb and bad. I feel like there's a better version of it, but even then, I don't know if I needed.
I wanted
old Billy Loomis.
Yes.
Old what's his
Skeet
name?
Ulrich.
I didn't need old Skeet Ulrich for the cameo.
Yeah.
I don't think he looked bad, but
it's just they just didn't. Yeah, they didn't try to de-age him, which is fine.
Which is fine.
So I want to end this discussion on the things I like. Some other things that I think are weaker. Like, that's the last thing I just dislike. Yeah. That swing does not work for me. I think this might have the worst opening scene in the whole franchise.
You think?
It's boring to me. It's like the only new thing it adds, in my opinion. It has nothing to do with anyone in it, by the way. I think Jenna Ortega's great in this movie. I think she's really good. The thing that doesn't work is the only new thing it adds is like she has that conversation at the beginning with like dialogue that I don't love. Like, but then he just gets in and stabs her and leaves. Now the subversion of it is that she lives.
Yeah,
it's not a kill scene up top.
Yeah.
That is the subversion of it. And I think that is cool. It's just like not shot in any sort of really interesting way to me. Like The other one that's this basic that is not as meta is the first one, and that is very like these like really cool oneers and painting and like the geography and stuff. And this just kind of has her walk through the house, grab a key, turn the thing. It has the lock thing with the door,
which I thought that was interesting. I
thought that was cool. It's got texting,
yeah.
which is weird that like that's cool too.
Yeah,
it's just that like when he's actually
is there not texting in the fourth one?
There's I think there's texting in the fourth one, but not in a sequence like that.
Oh, okay.
There is texting.
Yeah.
But that one has it literally like, this isn't Amber.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
you can read it. You read it on the screen and you hear it in his voice.
That is kind of it's just not as fun as the other ones. Like the first one is stone cold classic, maybe the best one. The fourth one is brilliant, and then the other two at least take big swings and introduce the voice modulator thing. With the, I don't know, man.
With is that in the third one where they introduce
the voice mimicker? I think I should say where he has recordings of other people's voices. I just think this one's like kind of shot in a little bit of a plain way. Like like it's not doing anything all that interesting, and it's not all that fun to me.
Yeah.
Like ultimately, that's my issue with the opening of this one, and obviously you don't feel the same way, which is fine. Again,
I would argue that like. I think the first one is a standout. The fourth one is a standout. And when it comes to shooting it, I think second and third are not exactly shot interestingly.
The shooting is not the biggest thing. Right. It's like, I will say the complaint about this one is something I've heard from other people as well. Like when I walked out of the theater and I was like, man, I hope I'm not the only one that thought that opening was a little weak.
Yeah.
I talked to some friends. They had the same thing. I watched some reviews.
It wasn't as interesting as any of the other ones because the other ones subvert expectations in a completely new and interesting way.
Like the subversion
while
this one
doing
is
the same thing each time, where this one is like
just the first one, but she doesn't die.
Right. Like that is I agree with that it is like the least different.
Yeah.
It is like the most like kind of, it's like it's just doing the first one, but she doesn't die this time.
Yeah. And then I will also say like I really like the cast of Scream 4 more than you do, I think.
Yeah.
And I think the cast of this one is very hit or miss. I don't care about several of them. Like at all. Like the guy from 13 Reasons Why. I had nothing against him as an actor. I've not really seen him in all that much. I think he's pretty good. I just think his character is nothing. And I think the twin brother, the brother half of the twins, is like a nothing character also.
I like him though. He's got more charisma.
Well, that's what makes him work. Like, right? And we'll talk about that. Like, I think a lot of them are not written as well, but the ones that stand out, like he's just a charismatic guy, so it
both of the
works.
Twins are so charismatic.
No, and we talked about this too of like who's the new Randy.
Yeah.
And it's her. Like, I think she's great as the new, like to the point that I love that scene at the end when she's like watching the movie about this scene where he's like, you don't look behind you, man. Sneaking up. And she's like, come on, man. You got it.
It's
and
like
then she
6 layers deep.
And then she realizes and goes, yeah. And it's like, oh, it's so good and funny, man. I loved that.
I liked the cast for the most part. I agree. Like a couple of them, I mean, specifically the 13 Reasons Why dude has like nothing going on.
No.
And the like shitty girlfriend of the twin.
But they literally say that up top. Like, you're too boring to be the killer. Which is
give
like
her nothing.
That's funny, but also you really did just give her nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I love that moment when she's like, you want to go to the bedroom? And he's like, don't take this the wrong way, but no, because I'm not positive you're not the killer. Like, he's making out with her, but he's also like, wait.
He's like, I'm fine doing anything down here in a group full of people, but I'm not
I'm not going up there. It has a lot of those little moments, right, where she's like, well, can you go get some beer from the basement? And everyone's like, Amber's fucking dead. And then they close the thing. She's like, that was a test and you failed. And that stuff is fun.
The door stuff in 5. Every moment with a door is perfect.
Yeah. There's the whole, the door sequence with the 13 Reasons Why kid where, in horror movies, they'll open a door and you expect to close it in something and there's a jump scare.
Yeah.
This movie for like 3 or 4 minutes straight just has him opening stuff and closing it and having nothing be there.
Blue balls you
over
for like,
and over to the point that Megan went, what the fuck?
That was great.
It was amazing. That is probably my favorite joke in all of the new one is that gag right there where they just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it.
Yeah.
And then he opens the door or comes up to the door at the end of the sequence and nothing's there and he just turns around and Ghostface is just standing there. Like it's not even a door gag to top it. It's like, that is brilliant. The last like negative thing, and then I want to talk about how you feel about a certain character's death, Dewey dying. But the last thing is I don't love the final girl, the lead in this one. I don't.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I like her.
Yeah.
I think she's good. I don't think her performance in this is good. I don't think the writing is quite as good. And I can't tell if it's unfair that she is like taking the torch from the best final girl in all of cinema.
Yeah. Right.
Or if she just really isn't that interesting.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And that's also going to come down to personal bias of how much you like Sidney Prescott, who is underused in this. And we'll talk about some stuff that happened there.
Woefully
underused in this. But I don't love her. I when I watched it the first time, I had that thought. And when I was like, you know what? I'm going to put that aside. I really want to I'm going to invest. And I didn't like her again. I like Jenny Ortega more.
Jenna Ortega is so much better. So much better. I don't even know the actress's name. But the one who plays the lead.
Yeah.
I like her. I think she's fine. And I don't think she's bad. And nothing took me out. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought she was, like, fine.
It's like if you were going to get an In the Heights actor, why not just get Leslie Grace?
Or, part of me wishes Jenna Ortega would take it from here.
Yeah.
Just give it to Jenna Ortega.
She's definitely post Wednesday.
She's a much larger star at this point.
Yeah, well, and this is a crazy to fucking think about. Scream 6 is coming out a year after Scream 5.
Yeah.
One. Yeah. Not even one and some change. I mean, 1 year.
Between this, X, and Wednesday, she's
she's a Scream queen, dude.
She is like the queeniest of Scream queens right now.
Yeah.
Other than like the
Mia
only
Goth.
I was literally just about to say other than maybe Mia Goth
or Anya Taylor-Joy. But even her, she did The Witch, and then she did The Menu and Split.
The Menu, yeah.
But no, I think Jenna Ortega is even more.
Right, specifically right now because it's so concentrated.
Yeah.
Like they're
bing.
Because X came out in 2021 or 2022?
2021, and then
Are you positive?
No, 2022. Yeah, X and Pearl came out in 2022. So yeah, she's not in Pearl.
All of those things. Wednesday, X, all in 2022.
She had a fucking year like Florence Pugh did with Midsummer, Fighting with My Family, and Little Women. She just had these like 3 star-making projects all come out one after another.
I need you to make a video essay about Florence Pugh that year and espouse your love of Fighting with My Family.
Oh my, we're doing an episode.
I know we're doing an episode, but like all 3.
I will, dude. Bet. Let's do it.
Because you are like one of the only people I know who have seen Fighting with My Family, but have also espoused their love for it.
I saw all 3 in theaters.
Hell yeah, you did. Of course he did. What were you surprised? I was not surprised.
Yeah. I've seen Fighting with My Family a bunch since then too. I really like that movie. But anyway, talking about this one, that she's not the best, and it is tough in comparison to Sidney Prescott. So she already had an uphill battle on that one. Other things. Dewey. Let's talk about Dewey.
Yeah.
I think he is great in this movie, by the way.
He's so good.
He's like, maybe you are the killer. Because that cut deep. So good. They rehash his storyline too with Gale in a way that frustrates me.
I think they did him dirty in this one. Because like
he gets his hero moment. You know what I mean? He gets the great moment, and I really like the moment. I even like the execution of the scene.
Yeah, execution.
But it's like I love when he's like, you're gonna whatever, you ready to die? He's like, not today, and he wins, and then yes, today. And then after she stabs him, which that's my other problem,
that's the problem.
It's Amber who beat fucking Dewey. Really? But not that I dislike her in this movie. I think she's
when she's unmasked.
Great.
Amazing. She's so good.
But like stabbed, and then she's just like, it's an honor, which is a great fucking line.
Yeah.
I love Dewey so much.
I know.
It's so hard to stomach that he's gone, and it's so hard to stomach that like it felt like it ended up being for nothing.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And that also really hurts the movie to me.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Yeah.
I do not enjoy that.
It also didn't help that for me, Dewey got spoiled a little bit.
Dewey got spoiled for you, but I told you, a friend of ours spoiled Dewey for him. You know who you are. Flash her letterboxd. Dewey got spoiled, but like I said, everyone knew. Like I actually should go back and show you the trailer.
I literally it came up in my recommended feed on YouTube like yesterday. I was like, I should watch it, and then I didn't.
It's a good trailer, but all of us, like me and my Scream friends, were all like, he's done. He's gone. Like, and it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It's kind of like them killing Randy in 2, where it's just like, why?
I mean, it's like, in that same conversation, I don't think Gail's making it out of 6. You think she's making it out of 6? If I were to guess, the movie opens with Gail.
I'm going to tell you up front right now, I think you're wrong, because I think the movie's opening with Samara Weaving getting killed because she's going to be the Drew Barrymore role, dude.
Oh, okay. You're
and
right.
She's playing a film professor in the movie. She's done, dude, which is a bummer because I love her and I want her in that whole movie. I think Gail makes it all the way out, or at least to the midpoint.
Which, like,
we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about
that's going to be a whole decision because I want to talk about. We're talking about that. We're talking about Gail. We're talking about.
Dewey was a bummer. What did you like
about Scream? I fucking love Jack Quaid in this movie.
I fucking love Jack Quaid in this movie.
We'll talk about that, but another, before I forget, another piece of commentary that works is the idea of Stab in universe losing its way, and the way that Scream in universe lost its way, and the way that all the movie Scream is commenting on lost their way. It's like, that is where that commentary is really smart, which plays into them wanting back to basics,
and that's why I like the legacy commentary. It's just bookended by dumb shit,
by stuff that
all
doesn't
of that
work.
Works so well that I'm willing to slightly look past the elevated horror. Is that the descriptor? Elevated horror. Is that how people describe it?
Not in real life, but yes.
Because I've never heard it described as elevated horror.
The idea is what she says at the beginning, where it's like it's the same horror elements, just rooted in character and actual emotion versus schlocky big kills.
Right.
The Witch, all the movies she references, The Witch, Babadook, Midsommar, Hereditary, all those movies, like, that is elevated horror, where it's taking it so seriously and treating it with such reverence.
Yeah.
Versus something like Barbarian, which is like a pulpy, great fucking ride. Which Barbarian also has a lot of emotion, a lot of subtext. That's not me digging that movie. Everyone who listens to this podcast knows I fucking love Barbarian.
Yeah.
But that's something. Any other things I like? Things like that's what we're talking about. Jack Quaid. Let's just talk about him. Jack Quaid. I think it's like he literally says what we're all thinking when the twist happens. He's like, I know. It's a bummer that it's me.
Yeah.
And it's like, it is a bummer that it's you, but you're so good as the killer.
Yeah. And then he was like, he cold shot that. Like,
first try. Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah. He is because he's so good as the, like, dopey boyfriend. And then as the absolute insane person at the end, he's so good at both. That, like, switch is perfect.
I love the scene whenever he's like, hey, is there any more beer? I'm going to go get it. She's like, it's in the basement. And he's like, okay, well, do you want to go with me? And she's like, no, dude. He's like, because it's the test, right? It's a reboot. And then they're like, and they're like laughing at each other. And then he goes in the basement.
Yeah.
That's such a funny fucking scene. Like,
okay, what did you think about the reveal that they're in Stu's house? Because I was like, I immediately recognized it. The second they walked through the door, I was like, oh, that's Stu's house. Because then, like 15 minutes later, it's like, zoom out. This is Stu's house. I was like, I
was way more caught up in my conflicted feelings about the movie to notice that the first time.
I caught it instantly. Instantly.
I was watching and I was just like, I was thinking about all the dumb, weird bullshit that I didn't love while watching it. And so this time, I see why you caught it. Where it's like, you look and you're like, yeah. But I also I didn't watch Scream 1 for a while before I had seen it, not like a week ago.
No, literally, it was literally 6 days in between seeing Scream 1 and Scream 5.
And I think it's a fun idea to put it in the house. I think hiding it would have been very hard.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, part of me wishes they just would have done that sooner or done more to.
But I like the reveal of that being something that the killers chose to do. It's like, if you had just had it in the house, all of us would have been like, okay, who lives here?
Yeah.
There it is. Which the fucking reveal, I also really love this, where she's like, maybe you're the killer, Amber. Yeah. And she shoots her and you're like, oh shit. That's great.
Yeah, she is so. I don't love her as much before the switch.
No, well,
but
I think they give her
switch,
way less. You know what I mean? After the switch, when there's the shot when she's like, they're holding him and she just goes, and does
So
the noise.
good.
It's so good. They light her on fire. Which is
This is like
crazy.
the second time she's played an insane murderer that got lit on fire and then blown up or whatever. Like, she just can't not be caught up. And she's so good.
Yeah.
I really, really like her. Like, once the switch happens, she really plays that crazy psycho murderer really well.
Yes.
And then in the end, when Megan was like, she's a teenager, why are they together? And you were like,
I went, Meg, they're insane.
Like, that was so good.
It's like they're not making it out. Like, it's fine. They're both gonna pay for it. Like,
I mean, like, statutory consent doesn't really matter if you both are
serial killers.
I loved that. That was so funny. It does make them more gross, though.
Yeah, for sure.
In a great way.
Yeah, Jack Quaid has some of the best lines in this movie. Again, it's like somebody who bought into this so well.
Yes.
Where he's like, they're at the hospital and they're like, where were you? And he's like, I was watching Netflix.
Yeah.
And he's just like, that's not a great alibi. That doesn't help me. Which is great. I love him. He's like, she wakes up in the hospital like, what are you watching? He's like, Stab. I wanted to do my research. Like, it's great. The idea of the horror fan is a weird thing too, just because I think the horror genre is not quite as toxic as that for the most part.
I'm sure there are.
Oh, there are sections of it for sure. Fandom. I think it's more commenting on fandom, but because it's a Scream movie, it has to be horror. It doesn't bother me. Other things I really dig. I love the fucking, like I said, the line. It's like when Dewey dies, like, it's an honor, is great. And in the trailer they cut it so it's like, hello, Sydney. It's an honor. And that would have been better. They should have done that. That should have been where that line was, because then I wouldn't be tainted by the Dewey thing. I love the line, I'm Sydney fucking Prescott. Of course I have a gun.
Yeah.
It's like, that's brilliant. Of course she does.
I also really liked the kills in this one. I don't know why. They just felt like a particular standout to me. The kills in this one just really fucking got me.
Yeah, no, they're vicious. Like, I don't know if it's quite as violent as 4.
It isn't as like gory, but I think the kills are as, if not more, violent.
Yeah, like specifically the neck one.
The neck one.
Gutting Dewey is very vicious. Yeah. Breaking her leg. Yeah. Like, this movie goes, now I looked at them.
And then fucking, the lead girl at the very end of the movie just wrecking house. Yeah. And like, and the killer does that too, where he just like, like the brother, the twin brother, he just like goes ham on him at the end. Even though he fucking survives. But, like,
no, it's a pretty vicious movie. Now
the headshot, you're right. Like, it's I don't know.
I still prefer the Babadook.
Yeah, I mean both of that one and the other headshot with the crazy girl.
Yeah, like, okay, and I do want to be clear. I was very negative. I don't like to be negative. I do like this movie.
He loves it. Whenever he's off camera, all this dude does is talk shit about you specifically. You, the listener and watcher right now. You specifically. You know who you are, and you talk shit about you.
Got me. I own it. I own Scream on Blu-ray.
Do you leave all the stickers on the Blu-rays?
Sometimes when they peel off, they rip.
Suck,
so they're shitty ones. So a lot of times I won't risk it. If there are ones that you can peel, I'll peel them. But most of the time, they put shitty ones.
with slip covers. Is they put those fucking stickers on them, and then
that's why I got the Scream, the 4K Steelbook.
That one's sick
because it's amazing.
But you kept the paper on it.
Oh, just because I want to keep from getting scratched. I wanted to keep from getting scratched. It's got on the back. It says, "Do you like scary movies?" And it's the phone. Which, by the way, the phone would be a great tattoo.
That'd be sick.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
I like your idea of the hands though. Like, I legitimately like. I want to get that tattoo.
That one's sick. Yeah.
So I really like.
I know you want to get like a little ghosty guy, right?
I want to get
it ghost face, or is it just
no?
Ghost?
So kind of. Me and somebody are getting. Hopefully, still they want to do it. We haven't talked in a bit about it. Are going to get semi-matching tattoos where they're both a little ghost.
Yeah.
We might get different designs, but they're both a little ghost. and mine, I want it to have the ghost face eyes.
We love it.
Just as like a slight nod, because me and that person also love.
Like just the shape, or the kind of like if you look at your shirt, like the way that it kind of protrudes around it too, or just the shape of the eye hole.
This shirt's a little different than how the actual mask.
It's got the kind of protuberance though.
Yeah,
around
a little
the
bit,
hole.
but really the shape of the eyes, that droopy eye thing. Then I may do the mouth too, and just may make the ghost face mask on it. I don't know. I would need to like see it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I love Scream. Scream is so influential. I literally in college we had to do.
Did you know that he went to?
Yeah, did you know I went to film school? Me and my friend Sydney, Sydney, and Scott, the two people I name dropped on this, we made a movie called The Shadow Man that will never see the light of day because I didn't love it.
Get wrecked, Sydney and Scott.
No, it wasn't because it was because we literally had to shoot it in 2 nights, but it snowed after the first night, so we had to fucking shoot a ton of it. It was shot on a phone. The way it was set up is we weren't allowed to do certain things. Like we were the group. We had to figure it out. We had to do it all.
Yeah.
And I was the director, Scott was the writer, and he wrote a really fun script, and Sydney was the producer, and so she had to run sound, and I had to do all the cinematography on my phone.
Yeah.
And so like there's some stuff in there I'm really proud of, some like weird fucking, but it just feels like a test shoot is all it feels like. So I'm not really into it. I don't really like it, but that was one of the movies was Scream was like, I was like, let's do a Scream. And so a lot of stuff in it is like pulled out of Scream and referential of that. And I don't know, like I love horror. I would love to work on some kind of slasher thing at some point. I don't know. Scream is very, 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 very influential. But 5, again, I just have mixed feelings. Like I think the swings that didn't work hurt it for me more than they hurt it for you is what I'm getting out of our conversation.
No, the swings that it took, I was like, I don't know. Did I like it? Nah, but the rest of it was cool and fun.
Yeah, I also don't love how this one looks in comparison to like 4 and 1. You know what I mean?
That's funny. I actually really like the way it looks.
It's not that I think it's shot poorly or anything. I just think like sometimes it doesn't feel like a Scream movie to me.
Oh, it definitely feels different from a Scream. I agree with that.
And that bums me out a little bit, but also not enough to like actually be something that hurts the movie. It's just occasionally I'm like, this doesn't really feel like Scream.
I would say 4 doesn't feels very different visually from the other ones.
But my reason for enjoying 4 is how pitch perfect its commentary is within the movie, and the fact that stems into the visuals as well.
That being said, I would argue that Scream 5 it's commenting on like Lego sequels and looks like one.
Yeah.
I mean, I would argue like not to the same height, but not to the same perfection as the 4th one. But it is. I think it's doing a similar thing.
But let me also throw this: I think 6 looks just based on the trailer. Obviously, I haven't seen it yet, but I think 6 looks better. I think it looks more it looks like they got more money.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure they did.
And they're shooting in New York, and so it's just that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like it looks a bit more expensive to me in a way that I think is interesting, and I'm excited for. I'm really excited for Scream 6, dude.
Do we want to say anything about Scream 5 before we talk about Scream 6? Because we both, I'm sure, have a lot of thoughts about Scream 6. One really big thing that we should
Here's the thing we should talk about now. Nev Campbell. The big Nev Campbell in the room. Nev Campbell, you know the lead of these movies?
Yeah.
Isn't coming back for Scream 6 because they wouldn't pay her enough.
Yep. Fuck you.
And to be very clear, we are on Nev Campbell's side.
Oh, 100%. When I say fuck you, I mean fuck the studio, fuck whoever.
Fuck whoever wouldn't.
Like
because,
whoever.
like, here's the shit. She came back for Scream 5 because it was during a pandemic. People needed to work. I'm assuming she enjoyed it. But to my understanding, I have to imagine there was some kind of promise of more money if they did another one and a bigger, better role if they did another one. And apparently what they offered her to come back for Scream 6 was insulting.
Yeah.
And she got a bunch of shit for not doing it. And everyone was like, you're not going to come. That's so petty. This is like, why wouldn't you just come back and do it?
I can't believe people would take the studio side on this.
I fucking know. And
I literally cannot believe it.
People were shitting on her so bad she had to talk about it. And she went, if I was a dude, this wouldn't even be a problem. They just would have paid me the money.
Right.
And she's like, I know the value that I bring to this franchise, and what they offered me was not it.
Like, look, is Nev Campbell a superstar?
No.
No.
But for
she's
Scream,
Sidney fucking Prescott.
She's the greatest final girl in cinematic history.
Right.
she knows that this is her franchise.
She is Scream's Robert Downey Jr. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like she is she's Sidney fucking Prescott. Of course she has a gun.
And so it fucking sucks that's like, that 6 is that's hanging over 6. But what also sucks is like, they're bringing back other legacy characters.
They're bringing back fucking Courtney Cox. Look, if they just brought back Kirby, I'd be okay with it because she's like a late.
Oh yeah, Kirby's coming back.
Hey, Kirby's coming back.
Which I'm so excited. Mr. fucking hates Kirby over here.
I don't hate Kirby. I just don't have the biggest heart on like this guy.
I love her.
She just loves Hayden
She knows cinema.
It's a bummer.
And so I wish at this point, because
Cowabummer,
dude. It's because 5 was the most like centered around the new cast, and then they brought them in for supporting roles. It's like, you pass the torch.
Yeah,
let him take it. And if you're not bringing Sydney back, just bring Kirby back, because I think that makes sense. She was only in one of these. She was a new character to begin with, so technically she's a legacy character, but not in the same way.
It's like you're gonna bring back everyone's least favorite.
I know.
It's like I love Courtney Cox. I don't love Gail Weathers.
And you're not supposed to love Gail, especially in the first one. Like, she's supposed to grow on you, but like
she's like basically a villain almost. It's like if you're gonna kill off Dewey, then like you just need to sunset Gail. I'm not saying she needs to die, but just like she goes off and reports the news for the rest of her life.
Yeah, like that's exactly like they go to. Now the problem is it's in New York. She lives in New York, so
or just give her a glorified cameo. You know what I mean? Like put her on TV reporting it. You know what I mean? Like I don't think she needs to have a role. If you're gonna kill off Dewey and you're gonna take away Sidney Prescott, then
because how do you justify this now?
Right.
Where like Sydney's like, no offense, Dewey, but I have no plan on setting foot in that town ever again. And then she comes back because she knows she has to, because she knows she can't not help them.
Yeah.
What, this time that doesn't count? What's the justification for her not being there? How are they going to address this? I just wish we took the legacy characters away, except for maybe Kirby, and let the new cast be the new cast. And because the new cast added some fun people, Tony Revolori, Samara Weaving, a couple other people that I'm like, cool, throw these guys in there. It's awesome. But like, I don't know, dude. It's just, it to me, it not only like morally fucking sucks, it sucks for like the movie, I think. Like, especially because it looks cool and good. Ghostface shoots a dude with a shotgun. Yeah. That's cool. And it looks like this Ghostface is not one to be fucked with, is what they're playing with. He's like, I'm something different.
Yeah.
I'm in. Like, I'm into the idea of... Now, this was something I talked to a friend about. I was like, wait, it's cool that he's this, but isn't the fun thing that Ghostface gets the shit kicked out of him all the time? Like, he better get the shit kicked out of him every once in a while.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it'll be interesting. I'm curious what they're going to do with the mystery element. Like, that's always fun, because that's what these movies are. Their core is like murder mysteries or whodunits.
Yeah. Which we love.
Which you love to see. So yeah, man, that's just, it's something. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because she's underutilized in 5 too.
She's super underutilized. It's just disappointing.
It is.
It's just disappointing.
It's a big bummer. Now,
because she like also like, just as a separate, Jesus Christ, Nev Campbell looks exactly the same. She has aged about 2 days since the first one. Like she looks, it's wild to me.
Yeah.
Like they all look great. Like David Arquette and Courtney Cox both look great still, but just like her in particular,
she just looks
like
the same.
just looks.
Well, I'll say this: I think good for Nev Campbell that she held out, because I believe she got cast in a show where she's like the lead.
Hell yeah!
So
good
like
for
fucking good for her. Way to hold. Like I'm fully in, because there's people again who talked about like, well, why wouldn't you? It's so petty not to come back because of money. It's Scream, man. Like you built this, you need to be a part of it. It's like, no, know the value of your presence, know the value of your name.
It's like at what? Yeah, like where does that end?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, yeah, next they short her on this one, and then the next one they're like, okay, well you got shorted last time, so we'll just short you again.
Yeah, it's like fuck
no,
that.
She's worth
dude.
more. She's Sidney fucking Prescott.
She's Sidney fucking Prescott. Of course she has a gun.
Yeah, of course she has a gun.
So yeah,
she should bring a gun to the negotiations.
Wait a minute, that would be a crime.
But she's Sidney fucking. Okay.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on 5?
No. I liked it. I don't know. I'm dumb.
Don't get me wrong. I like it too. I own it. I watched it twice. I'm into this movie. It's just there's certain things.
I shouldn't like it as much as I do, but I was just like, this is fucking dope after the movie.
Do you want to do a ranking real fast of these movies?
I don't know. You give me your ranking because I don't think I think I'm too fresh on it. In all honesty,
my ranking
I
is.
think I need some time to differentiate between
starting
2, 4, and 5.
Starting at the worst, I think is Scream 3,
That's
obviously. Then, honestly, 2 and 5 are kind of interchangeable, depending on my mood, depending on my day. Now, that being said, I enjoyed Scream 2 a lot the second watch.
Yeah.
Then it's 4, then it's 1. I mean, that's... I fucking love the first one. It's one of my favorite movies ever.
Like I'm kind of in the same spot, but like 2, 4, and 5 all kind of are... I kind of feel that way about all 3 of those.
Yeah.
Where it's like they're all pretty freaking good in a way. They all... tickle different parts of me in ways that I enjoy. They're all like enjoyable in different fun ways.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think in a couple years I'll slowly kind of rewatch them over time. Probably not the third one, and see how I feel again.
Yeah. There's such a big thing. I mean, the first one's obviously so influential. The fourth one's obviously so influential.
Yeah.
For me. I love these movies dearly. Like I love horror movies, and Scream for me is maybe my favorite like purely horror movie. You know what I mean? I
would love to see like an aggregate of the fan reactions to these movies and see how it ranks up. Because like when it comes to the fan base, I don't know how they rank.
Yeah, I think the fan base, the general consensus. Now 5 is the question mark because I know people really,
the one I'm asking
really,
about.
really dig 5. But the general consensus is 1 is great, 2 is good, 3 is bad, 4 is great, 5 is probably great to most people. I mean, a lot of people love 5, and don't get me wrong, I like 5. I just have those issues with some of the big swing choices that didn't work. But yeah,
But Jack Quaid.
Put Jack Quaid in everything challenge.
I completely agree.
I support
this challenge.
+1 is a really fun Jack Quaid movie that's very different from this. It's like a rom-com, but it's great. I really dig the movie. And The Boys, the best show on TV, maybe, like arguably. It's like that, Barry, and The Last of Us for me are the 3 that are in contention. I haven't seen Succession.
And Bob's Burgers.
Bob's Burgers is great. That's a different echelon. We can't.
The real fans know.
Yeah, the real fans. Anyway, just real quick lessons. I mean, these are kind of continuation movies. Like, is there anything that informs some of your other lessons with these ones, or makes you double down on things?
No, I think kind of like I've been saying. Like I watched these in such quick succession. They're mixing in my head a tiny bit in a way that it's like making it hard for me to differentiate certain ideas that I might be able to pull from one or the other. I think you would have a more interesting thought here. What are your takeaways?
I'll just reiterate the 2 lessons from the last 2 episodes. Scream, my lesson was really about knowing the genre you're commenting on, knowing the thing you're commenting on, and not just hating it.
Yeah.
And my lesson for 2 and 3 was time. Giving yourself time to justify making, and with 6 coming out a year after 5 is part of that discussion and conversation for me. Is they waited a decade, put 4 out, 4 ripped. They waited a decade, put 5 out. A lot of people love 5. I like 5. With this next one coming out a year later, I don't exactly know what the commentary is going to be.
Yeah,
I don't exactly know what the angle they're going to take is,
or if it's just going to be,
which would hurt me emotionally.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough. It's a tough situation.
Yeah.
But that's just reiterating those 2 things and how they work together, and like loving the eras of things. Marvel has eras. DC is going through a big era shift right now. Horror has eras. Action has eras. I mean, you can watch action movies from different decades and see so clearly what the differences are.
Yeah.
And horror is that, and Scream has kind of been, in my opinion, we need a Scream movie once a decade.
Yeah.
But
maybe,
we'll see.
Who knows? Maybe in Scream 6, it will actually be a little bit more like elevated horror.
Maybe we'll
they'll actually bring in
Ghostface is an actual ghost this time, and it's about religious trauma.
No, there you go. That's all it takes. You just need to add some religious trauma.
That's it.
In there.
Makes it a real horror movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's kind of just all I'll say about that. I mean, I love these movies dearly. Like I said, I watched the first one all the time. I love 4, and I'm just super excited for the new one. And, and Scream rips, dude.
These have quickly entered my echelon of movies that I love. So
yes,
some in particular are definitely Scream 1 is by far the
by far the best.
Like I said, I think I mentioned this last time. It has entered my physical wish list, so I definitely want a copy of it because it's fucking good. So yeah, I really like that, and I agree with all of your thoughts on the takeaways and the things that you learned. I completely agree with all of that. B segment. Okay, we're gonna be redoing a game we've done before, especially with something that has a lot of sequels. We are going to be redoing the tagline game. So I'm going to give you the tagline of a movie,
not a Scream movie, just any movie.
They're all slasher movies.
Okay.
But the Scream movies will be represented.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So as I said, these are all slasher movies of different eras, and so they're not all maybe the first one. Some of them might be sequels. So keep that in mind. And I'm pretty sure you've seen all of these.
Okay.
Evil Dies Tonight.
Halloween Kills.
Yes.
That movie's so dumb.
Yes. Let me see.
You sure spent a lot of time in that hospital in that movie.
There's a killer on campus making more calls, making more kills.
Scream 2?
Yep.
Scream 2.
I knew you'd get that one. That one feels kind of easy.
The campus is where it throws it. The campus and the phone call thing.
There's more than one way to lose your heart.
My Bloody Valentine?
Yep.
The movie which is it the original?
I think so.
I watched the remake last night. Yeah. That's very funny.
If you think you'll get out alive, you must be dreaming.
A Nightmare on Elm Street?
No.
Which one? What is it?
Guess. Give me at least more than one guess.
A Nightmare on Elm Street 2?
No.
A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warrior?
Yes.
3 is maybe the second best one as a movie, but there's... You know what? I'll say this. A Nightmare on Elm Street has some great fucking body horror and crazy kill shit, and a lot of them. The movies are dumb, but the first one's not. The first one's great. Third one's pretty good. Anyway, movies.
It's always someone you know.
Scream? What is it?
Scream?
Is it Scream? 4. No, 4 is New Decade, New Rules. That's the tagline of 4. Is it Scream 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you also...
It was Scream! I said it!
I know. Well, yeah. Okay. Fair. New Decade, New Rules.
Yeah, it's 4. Yeah, sorry. I knew that. I just love that tagline.
Don't answer the door. Don't leave the house. Don't answer the phone. But most of all, don't scream.
Oh, that's a tough one. Is it Scream?
Yes. I'm honestly surprised you're doing this as well. You're doing this better than I thought you would.
Hurtful?
The Night He Came Home.
Is this a movie I talk about?
Not like consistently, but
I don't know this one. I outright don't know this one.
Any guesses? He is capitalized.
Yeah, I don't know.
Halloween.
Wait, like Halloween 79 Halloween?
I think so.
Okay.
What's in a dream anyway? Dream a little nightmare of me.
A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
That's actually really fun and stupid.
There's nowhere to hide. We dare you to try.
Ready or Not?
No.
What is it?
Friday the 13th 3.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Okay, I feel less bad about that.
Have you not seen that one?
The only Friday the 13th I've seen is the original, the remake, and then Freddy vs. Jason, which is so stupid and so good.
Yeah. New York, New Rules.
Is that Jason Takes Manhattan?
No.
What is it?
Scream 6. Fuck! I'm honestly surprised you didn't get that one.
There's a movie called Jason Takes Manhattan, wherein the last shot is him getting to Manhattan.
The scare of the millennium, the last scream is always the scariest.
Is it Scream 3?
It is Scream 3.
It
was not accurate.
It was not the scariest.
That was not accurate. I believe that is all the ones I have for you today. You did super well. I think this is the best you've ever done at one of the games I have for you.
I'm a genius.
I seriously, you got like all but like 2 or 3?
I'm brilliant.
And I had 12. So
I'm a genius.
I seriously think you got like 9.
Unparalleled to all.
No, keep going.
Yeah. No,
please.
I sit in my Mobius chair.
Recommendations.
You go first?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. So this movie in Scream 5, it doesn't say much about it, but it does reference elevated horror. This movie mentions elevated horror, but it doesn't really comment on it. So I'm going to comment on it and give you some cool elevated horror. Obviously, probably like maybe the biggest horror. I don't even know what to call it. One of the most notable horror movies over the past like decade. Hereditary, fucking rips. I need to rewatch that. Maybe that'll be on my list for this week to rewatch that because that movie fucking rips. And then the not a sequel at all, but just his next project, Midsummer.
Which is one of my favorite movies.
Yep, phenomenal. Oh, we've got it right up.
I have the A24 edition of it.
Absolutely rules. And then the third one was one that I saw like, I can't believe I watched it because it is just like that time was not up my alley. But The Witch.
The
Witch. I freaking love that movie. That was like the antithesis.
Robert Eggers, dude.
Robert Eggers. That was like the antithesis of anything that I would enjoy at the time that I watched it, because I watched it pretty close to after it came out. A friend of mine let me borrow her DVD or Blu-ray, I can't remember which. And that movie like absolutely shreds. Like that movie is like, I think would you say that it kind of kicked off this era of like super heady art house horror?
I don't know if it kicked off, but it was definitely in that like freshman class.
It was. Oh yeah, okay, maybe not kicked off for sure, but it was early in this like new wave
and like
of,
the late 2010s, early 2020s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the movie rips, and it's so the behind the scenes process of how the script was written, but how it was like mostly based off of like diaries and things of the time, is super fucking cool.
Robert Eggers is wild, dude.
Yeah, his research and shit is insane. Hereditary, Midsummer, The Witch. Can't go wrong with any of those 3. I don't even need to say much about them because you already know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I am also going to recommend just movies that are really, really thematically relevant and just make a lot of sense in conjunction. Magic Mike, Magic Mike XXL, and Magic Mike's Last Dance. Now you, the viewer/listener, might be thinking, he's joking, he's going to recommend something else. And I say to you, no. I am legitimately recommending Magic Mike XXL, and Magic Mike's Last Dance. Because I'll tell you what, those movies rip. Specifically Magic Mike 2, best one. And then Magic Mike 3 might have the sexiest moment in a movie.
High praise.
That's hyperbole, but also kind of, I don't know. Just watch them. 2 of them are made by Steven Soderbergh, so if any of your friends give you shit, just...
And I love Steven Soderbergh, so if they give you shit, send them my way and I'll kill them.
Yeah, wait, what? No response. He's serious, guys. Anyway, so you got stuff to watch. You got a bunch of Scream movies to lead up to the new one. This is the end of the Scream trilogy. The Screamology.
Scrimology. Screamology?
Whatever. We can't figure
Skrilogy?
out. We really should have planned this. Skrilogy's pretty good.
I like Skrilogy.
So it's the end of the Skrilogy. And
are we going to talk about Scream 6?
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll see how much we like it.
We'll see how much we like it.
We might do...
It'll probably be like a B segment or something.
We might do roundup episodes as we like more and stuff come out. But so if you got some stuff to watch, you should go do that. Or, I don't know. Don't? I don't know. Live your life.